What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Um, we have a guest today with us that I've been personally literally trying to get on for months, just because I love his stuff on LinkedIn. He is compelling. He's, to me, his own person. And I think you're going to find him equally as engaging. So, Adam Kronemeyer from Sage, account executive, man, sitting in Charleston, I believe, right? Like down
Right.
there. Man, how are you today?
We're good. We're good. And yeah, Dave, I appreciate the persistence on getting me on here. I feel like the kids have thrown a bunch of wrenches into my schedule. So I'm glad we could finally make this happen.
Oh
It's
man,
been a
look,
minute.
I think one time was me, I think one it was you, and then I think whatever. But you know what? I'm glad you're on. I've been looking forward to it. I've done some homework. Anytime I do these, I dig into the backgrounds, like I was talking to you before we hit record here. Um, and I think that, what I want to go right into is and I originally come on, right? So we're in for everybody listening, we're doing this pre. I'm like, hey Adam, you hit quota for 5 years in a row, man. That's crazy. How'd you do it? And he goes, yeah, Dave, that's cool and all. It wasn't five. It was actually like 11. So let's just start there. You've hit quota as a full, carrying account rep for 11 straight years.
Right.
Damn. How? I mean, let's just go into that. How?
It's something that like I've recently figured out. I think of it's like what drives me and like my why around sales. And a lot of things I think you can always tie things back to like your childhood and like how you're raised. But
Yeah.
being successful in sales and like my like love language, like it is that there's like words of affirmation and like good work, pat on the back type stuff. So it's like why I got into sales, but there is that drive for me to through financial stability, like it creates security. And I remember literally the first year, the last time, the second year I was in sales was the last time I missed my sales quota, and it was still like 95 or 98%. Like it was super close. But I remember I had this sales leader, and he looked at me and he was like, it's one thing to like work hard when you first like get into your sales job. He's like, but once you have kids, he's like, your work ethic just like goes through the roof because he's like, everything's about providing for them and meals and kids.
Yeah.
And that was something that just sort of stuck with me right out of the gates because it was like, okay, like if you can do that for your kids, like if you're going to work that hard, like why can't you just do that now? And I sort of like created this mindset of just like full throttle all the time. And it's a blessing and a curse because
Mhm.
I mean, I like, I'll definitely wake up and like I'm just running through deals in my head and opportunities. And I kind of created my own sort of like my own organized chaos at the end of the day to keep things moving. But it is like I'm constantly on the go with it. And for me, what's been successful is it's just I want to make relationships with people. And I try, even when the deals are super small, say it's like a 5, 10, $20,000 deal, like I try to even make sure that that gets the same relationship love or the same relationship and love that I would give to a client that's going to spend six figures or more
Yeah.
on solution as well.
Man, you hit on a few there. So let's just start. Let's just start there. Your mindset, you shift it, right? In terms of like what's
Yeah.
possible and what you can do. And you shift that mind into, yeah, I don't have kids, but hey, if I can go that hard with them, why can't I go that hard now? Um, and I know you have two. So when you got to two, you got one, right? You're, even married. Did you sense a shift? Did you think back and go, yeah, he's right. I do sense a little bit of a shift here. Or was it already at 100% anyway? And you're like, yeah, it's already there. I don't feel it.
So I sensed a shift because I mean it really resonated like when it finally hit because I had
Yeah.
sort of been like waiting for that like gear to shift. And it's not that I worked harder, but like every year as we get older and gain more wisdom, it was like, how do you just work more efficiently?
Yeah.
Because as you know, with kids, right, it's like you've got to figure out how to be done with work at 5 o'clock. And then there are days where you have to figure out how to only work in 3 hours because you have a kid home with a fever and
Right.
you're switching with your spouse. And so I'm at least fortunate that like I'm still married, right? And I have a spouse to share that with. So
Yeah.
but for me, it's like I mean, I can say that the shift happened because like I can also look at my W-2 and it has significantly grown since I've had kids
Yeah.
on a constant basis.
Yeah.
And I've only, in my sales career, like I've only technically worked for like 3 companies. So it's
Yeah.
like I've been pretty consistent, um, which is, just goes to show that it's like actually selling the deals is what's getting me to
Yeah.
the financial goals that
Yeah.
I'm chasing.
It's, we always talk, I talk to folks on here who've had family, who've had kids, and we talk about like work-life balance. I've never talked to anybody on here who says, you know what, it's that mindset of like providing for them that kind of, fuels me. I just hit something on LinkedIn. It's funny you brought this up, right? I think I hit something maybe last week, and I hang a picture of my kids right to my left. And it's like one of those great shots where it's just like, how you have all these shots of your kids and it's all whatever. I had this like random one they took at a football game together. They're both in college together, both at the same school, which is kind of cool. And I don't know, it's like one of those shots where I pinned it up and I was like, if I ever get a little bit of doubt of why the hell I'm working, it's that,
Yeah.
and like I don't know, maybe I'm old enough to where the accolades, hey, whatever, right? It's, hey, can I provide for them? Right. And then the accolades will come and I'll high five you. That's great. But really it's providing for that. So that's cool that it's cool how you thought that way and kind of how I guess the mentor kind of, told you once, and then you know what? Yeah, I can shift. I can go to that gear if you want me to. So it's cool. So you've been selling for that long, pre-pandemic, through it, post-pandemic, era of AI, all of that. How's it changed? Like what's changed and what stayed constant over the years, man? I mean, because you've changed with it, right? And like I don't want you to be humble here because you've changed with it, and you've done the thing. So what's been that evolution over those years?
I think since the pandemic shift, it's been a lot. Like it went from a lot of like department level decisions into CFO level decisions with the pandemic. But the biggest shift that I've seen, even here in 2025, is that it's almost completely moved out of the CFO's hands. Like, and it is a team decision. Like it's a CFO and a CEO, of course, with board type approvals at the end of the day. But like it seems to be that there isn't one person taking the ship down. It's going to be the team if they make a bad choice or a bad implementation. But the funny thing is though is that like my sales methodology has not changed. Like it's the same as it's always been, right? It's like if you're not understanding how your solution can drive revenue for them in some way, and it's one thing to talk about like saving time and saving folks money, but like every business, every for-profit company, every nonprofit company, like they want to take that savings and they want to either like invest it back on their people or they want to grow their operations in some other form or fashion. So being able to honestly take the ROI and be like, how do you put that back into how do you return it into your own investment as a company? I mean, it's the forefront of every decision that they're making, and it's been the same since I think sales has started.
Mm.
And for me, it's just going in and like you've got to get to the revenue dollar every time.
In terms of the ROI and say, here's what we can give you back. This is it. This is the dollar amount we can give you back if we do this correctly.
Well, but it's also tying it back to like, what are they going to do with that investment? Like,
Okay.
you need to understand where they're going to take that money and go put it. And it's not just, hey, my metrics can do this based on what other customers can do. It's like, hey, I understand you want to go build this new factory out, or you want to go hire 50 new people to build this new program out. Like, you need to be able to tie the investment back to their
Yeah. So,
causes.
okay. Are you asking
And
them that? Say, hey, look, I think I can save you round numbers, $100,000. I think we can save you. what are you guys going to do with that money? Is it as simple as that, or do you tie it in another way?
It can be, but I think early on in any discovery call, you're getting into what are their strategic initiatives. Like you can make a lot of assumptions, you can read a lot of stuff online, you can listen to a lot of podcasts and interviews and just any sort of analyst talking over reviews. And so you can kind of go in with a hypothesis of what you think they're going to do with it and then let them correct you. But it's being able to talk their lingo and how they operate is going to be the quickest way to gain trust and confidence and really just know what's important to them. But I always think a good thing to like pressure test folks is when you kind of go into them and it's such a simple question is understanding like, hey, like if you were to buy my solution here today or like go through this evaluation of like, where does this rank on your priority list and where does it rank on your CFO or your CEO's priority list? And they're always going to tell you, they're always like 3, 4, somewhere in there, right? And or even if they're like, hey, it's the top one, you're like, well, what's number 2 and number 3 priority?
Mhm.
Or, it's like, hey, tell me your top 2 priorities. And if this is 3, right? And get them to list those out no matter where you fall in the rank. And then you can try to understand because it's also that's going to be a blocker for you potentially
Yeah.
because that could push you down the list. But then it also helps you figure out like what's really those strategic initiatives that they're really focused on today versus maybe
Mhm.
what they might have put in a report a couple months ago.
Yeah, I was reading something. I think it just may have been a quick post on LinkedIn. I don't think it was anything, too in depth, but it was a very interesting thing of what you just said. And it's not that it was basically saying that, hey, your solution, like whatever you're doing, may be the best thing. It may make them money and all that, but there's only so much bandwidth that the leadership team has for problems. And if your problem is fourth, it's just, they may not get to it. Right.
Right.
And then there's another month, another quarter, and then you have to do a reevaluation of these priorities. And again, you may be saving them money. That may be helping. It's all you can beat the competition, everything else. But if you're not in that top to where they have bandwidth and time to kind of go after it, you're not getting it. And that's I just kind of looked at that and I was like, it's interesting because your question feeds right into that in terms of that
Yeah. And
piece.
then another simple pressure test that goes really well with that is you're like, what was the straw that broke the camel's back? And it is like old as that question is, you know, sometimes we can be like, well, the camel's back getting really broken. Or, or they're like,
Got
well,
it.
no, it was this. And like, this was the Achilles heel that's been ripped apart, and you're like, oh, okay. So it's really not that big of a priority. Like if the straw didn't break the back, like you're really not there. And you can tell that they still need some work to do to even get to that point of like, all right, we're
Yep.
finally ready to make this shift or change.
Yeah. If they tell you, hey, there's no straw, right? Hey, we're kind of okay. Like there, I mean, you get that
Right.
sense. How's that take your discovery then? What happens then in your if you hear that in that moment? Okay, where do you pivot to? Like, what audible are you calling that in your discovery call in terms of that?
If for me, I almost sort of call the bluff in the room a little bit.
Okay,
And I kind of look at him and like, hey, well, if it's all fine and dandy and it's kind of working, like, what are we doing? Like, because at the
why
end
are
of the
we
day,
here?
yeah, because at the end of the, and I'll tell them, I'll be like, listen, like, I'm gonna take a lot of your time, and you're gonna probably compare me against 2 other vendors. They're gonna take a lot of your time, and if we're not giving you something valuable back, if you're not learning something new from us, like we are wasting your time. So either you're gonna buy my solution and find value in it, or you're not. You're gonna buy a competitor. But like, if you don't find anything value from me, like total waste of time. And I'm like, at the end of the day, there's too much information online that if you're just trying to like gather a sense of, hey, I'm just trying to figure out which SUV that I even think I want, but you're nowhere near close a test drive, it's like, well, we got hyperlinks for all that stuff.
does, does
And
this
then
go
they
into does this go into protecting your time? Does this go into spending time where you feel that you can make the most impact, or
you have to.
you, yeah,
Yeah. You have to. And I think, and it's, you can say it in a nice, respectable, calm way.
yeah,
And I think too, like I always try to like even start early in conversations with like, listen, I'm very transparent. Like I probably share too much about the inside workings of like how our systems work, but it's like I I come at any conversation with any client. I'm like, I want to give you the most options possible. And if the best option isn't mine, I at least want to be the guy who tells you about the best option possible. Because the world is, I don't know. I feel like again, in 13 years of sales, I've had 3 jobs. Like, so will I have 6 jobs in 26 years? Will I have 9 jobs in 35 years? So it's like, who knows? I mean, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
cross. It's always a small world at the end of the day.
100%. 100%. I mean, look, I can see I can start putting the pieces together here of like why you've hit quota so much. I mean I really can. Like a short conversation, those couple things, it's just interesting to me how you approach it, and such. But this leads me to my next point, which again, that's just recap here. You've hit quota for like a decade straight in random jobs with random, all different. Even in the job you're now, I know you were standing up a new sector, a new division, right? So all
Yeah.
like not easy. Okay, this isn't softballs we're throwing you here for quotas, right? You went and got coaching, right, from one of the real industry experts out there that I have read, and I really found that I immediately wrote that down because I'm like, okay, here's a guy who has been ultra successful, has done a lot in his career, could very easily kind of just go status quo and still be good, and yet you went into that coaching and you really raved about it. And I really just want to pick your brain on what drove you to the coaching. um kind of what did you pick up on it from a high level, and did it ever occur to you that that's outside the norm of most people, right, to go get that given your success, right? So I just want to dive into that, man, a little bit with you.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife said the same thing. She's like, we go on all these President's Club trips every year. Like it's phenomenal international vacations, fully paid for. Like, why do we need to hire a coach? Like you're doing great. And the crazy thing about Ian's coaching is I took a year to sign up for like one of his like entry level silver memberships. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
bronze, silver, gold, platinum, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was one of those things where so for as I've gotten older, like I go through my life, like I have a workout coach that I go do strength training with. I have a running coach. At one point I've had a public speaking coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, I've had all these great coaches. I've had nutritionists, like, so I've had all these great coaches where I pay a lot of money for these people. And I was like, these people that I pay for, like, they're not helping me drive revenue, right? Like usually you hire these extra like life coaches in life when you've made it pretty successful.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait a minute, like, why don't I have a sales coach like that could actually help me make more money so then I can hire more coaches? And the more people I talk to, especially as I get in my 40s, they're like, dude, every great person in this world has some sort of coach that they're paying for,
Yeah.
some sort of mentor that have a high consultative fee that's
Mm-hmm.
going to them. And I resonated really well with just Ian's philosophy, his methodologies, his trainings. He's got a huge training system on like habits and mindsets and growth. And I realized, I don't need I don't need to be taught how to prospect or handle objections or take on complex deals, but it's like I do need to like make sure that I'm not stuck in my ways. And I need to make sure too that I am completely back to where I was 10 years ago, 13 years ago when I first got into sales of just like I want to help others. I want people to be better. I want them to find products and services that make their lives better. And that servant attitude is what Ian's all about. And that's kind of where my head's at. And getting back into that, like it almost like brought me right back to that, the first date, where it's like, oh, I love selling. I love helping people. I love Sunday nights because I actually enjoy work on Saturday. I've even made comments on LinkedIn like I'm kind of open for a 6-day work week sometimes. Like I'm not here for the 4-day work week crowd. Like, I kind of like the in office action versus being fully remote because I don't like being alone. And it's it was that driving force that I like. I needed someone to just hold me a little bit more accountable. And the crazy thing is soon as I joined, within like 3 months, I mean, I like basically 300% my quarter, like blew it out of the water. Then my next quarter, it was like another record setting quarter for me. So I had like two back-to-back quarters since joining him of like highest percentage ever, best W-2 of my career coming out of 2025. And then I just upgraded into his next tier to get even more deep diving. And I'm like, okay, there's even more there to uncover that we're not designed to do it alone. We're designed to do this life
Nice.
with others.
And help me. His last name I can never pronounce. Can you help that? And for everybody listening,
Cognac, Ian Cognac. I
Ian
think it's
Continously. Thank
Cognac.
you. I
Yeah.
have seen him speak, um, like online, like the videos. I know of the course, and I think you may have just sold me on the course, right? From what you just said. So I'm gonna check that out. From from this though, as we kind of head toward the end here a little bit, right? It hasn't, and you posted something. I saw something how you like the live action of the sales floor and hard to close deals from the library and like all that,
Yeah.
stuff like that, right? But hasn't all it hasn't been easy, and I want to like test your mindset here a little bit. I know you were heading to Chicago, I think, for like a CFO event, right? And I think you posted on LinkedIn. Again, I'm looking at it, and I think I remember you seeing it, but I think you said like 8 CFOs registered, 8 no-shows, right? And you've gone
Yeah.
through like how have you taken those lessons and applied them, right? Because you hit quota and oh my god, you're crushing. And I think it's important for us to talk on and say, man, you've had some like recently, last quarter this year, you've had some gut punches too. Like we all take those. How do you take a gut punch and learn from it? How do you do that?
I'm a man of faith, and so everything that negatively happens to me, I'm like, there's a reason that this happened to me. So I try to look at his mistakes as stepping stones in life, and I'm not an event planner, right? But creating a new vertical at Sage, I've been forced because I don't have the resources. I've been forced to do a lot on my own. So when I throw an event and those 8 CFOs didn't show up, the next event I did, like I had 8 more or 10 more CFOs sign up. And then like 2 days before, right, called every single one, 24 hours before, called every single one, got all their phone numbers. We're all texting each other. And it was just those like little extra steps that I didn't even think about. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, who would turn down a free Cubs game in the middle of the summer with an open bar and open, buffet food? I'm like, this is great. And it just goes to show that, same with like a sales coach, right? Like we all need a little bit of accountability to like keep
mm-hmm.
us going. Like the same way you say persist on me getting here is and so it's just like, okay, I've got to just be a little more diligent. And it took me again 5 minutes to call down a list of 10 people. And I'm like, hey, you coming tomorrow? Like, yep, all right, see you tomorrow. You coming tomorrow? And and you just kind of go on. But as they all say, right? It's like you need those negative moments to happen in your life because you won't figure anything new out. But it's definitely, I mean, there's still an emotional side to it. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
am I failing? I can't believe I threw an event and like wasted, thousands of dollars on this, and then folks don't show up and like zero ROI. But it's one of those things like I won't let it happen again.
Yeah,
And I got another big event coming up here in like 3 weeks in LA, and it's like we're on the phone, like we're getting 30 CFOs together, and we're like 20-30% there, and it's like got 3 weeks, but like we're gonna make it happen. So
that's cool. That's cool. So, from a standpoint then of like your travel, because I think you had said you were on like I think you're like Delta's your brand, right? Like you
yeah,
need Delta's got to sign you up for some sort of deal here in terms of pitching them, but that's a lot of travel. I mean, you're looking at South Carolina, you're heading to Chicago to LA to Florida to you're bouncing around like 60, 70,000 miles in a year. Oh, by the way, that family is there. You know, what have you learned over the years, man? How do you balance that personally?
it's hard. I definitely try to make it like each year. I'm like, how do I travel less and less? How to
Hmm.
be as strategic as possible with my time. Like when I come to a conference, like I'm also trying to meet with
Hmm.
other prospects in the area, even if it's grabbing coffee. And, if it's missing 2 hours at a conference booth, like great,
Hmm.
whatever it may be. But also, I think a big thing too as we get older is learning to say no more.
Mm.
And um, but I firmly believe that like doing things in person is been key to my success.
Hmm.
And not, there are some people who will live and die by the teams and the Zooms calls,
Hmm.
and some do very well with it, but I also know a lot struggle with it. And um, I'm just, I find my energy and motivation when I'm like in a group setting.
Yeah.
And I also, a little more backstory about me, but it's like I grew up, my mother worked for Delta for her entire career. So like I
Okay.
grew up traveling all the time. So
Right.
I personally love the travel. Like my body can handle it. I've got my routines down. I'm very consistent with my routine. So it's like I still get the sleep and the rest that I need. Like I'm not
Hmm.
like broken down by hotels, but leaving my small children, it's like I am trying, like I'll get on the 6 a.m. flight, I'll come home at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Like I'll do 1 or 2 days away versus
Yeah.
like I'm not doing like week stints
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make sure I'm
That's
there
how
as
I
much as
was.
possible.
That's how I was too. I still remember I had clients in Atlanta. I'm here in Raleigh, and I still remember the gates. I would go to C5. I'd hop on the 6 a.m. flight, which means like like a 3:45 wake up to get to the airport to check in.
Yeah.
I always like getting there early. I probably could sleep in a little bit more, but get down there, get the rental car, see about two clients, maybe three if I could fight traffic. Hop on like the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock flight home, right? Pull in the driveway at 9:30, right? And hopefully high five them before they go to bed, right? And try and give my wife a break. But usually I'm on like fumes at that point of time. But I was always the same. I don't want to stay over. I'll be here for breakfast, right? Drop them off at daycare, whatever it is. And now that they're out of the house, I look back on those days, and honestly, for people that have young kids, they just laugh at me and go, whatever. But I'm telling you, it's wild how fast it goes, and it's wild how I miss some of those drives, right? Like the going to practices to watching the games in the stands to all that. There's different experiences now. They're older, but it's wild how fast it goes.
Right.
So good on you for
Believe you.
good on you for that. All right, so let's get into that quick fire round I promised you, man, because
All
I
right.
know that hey, I always ended up on a few things, and you know this piece I just kind of want to understand, kind of a little bit of insight on you. I think this will tell a lot. When you fly, aisle or window? What are you going on?
Aisle.
Aisle.
No
Got it.
questions.
Hitting the weight room. One exercise to do, man. What are you picking?
God, I would probably go for, oh man, I'd probably go for like a good like row that hits the back.
Okay. Okay. Like the rowing machine, or are you talking about the
Like a
dumbbells?
weight, like a weighted row or a single arm row, or if I have a
Okay.
cable machine, like a good row to hit the back
All
muscles.
right. All right. I thought maybe I could see like deadlift or squat from you, but row kind of hits. Okay.
I'm too tall for the squats.
Yeah, tell me
6'3".
about it.
It hurts the
How
back.
tall? All right, I have to ask, how
6'3".
tall are you?
6'3".
6'3". Okay, you're right there with me. All right. The So favorite dinner, you come home, hey, favorite dinner, birthday, whatever. What are you asking for at home?
Man, we'll probably just do. I would. You're gonna laugh, but I probably would do like a good piece of like grilled chicken. And
Healthy.
yeah, yeah, I'd love some grilled chicken, and then I would probably do some like fried Brussels sprouts to even them out, and then
Dude, we got to get you right.
yeah,
I'm going to laugh. We got to get you
yeah.
some better. We got to get that birthday dinner, like a little, like, give me
But
cheese,
like,
somewhere, right?
yeah, I mean,
That's
we could do some
classic.
cheese potatoes or something, some
I'll give it. All
gratin.
right. And the
We could
last
do
one for
that, but
people
like,
visiting Charleston. In
I don't
Charleston,
want this.
what's that?
But like, yeah, I'm not like, I love a steak, but it's like, man, I don't know, I love chicken.
Right. So simple. Wife's like,
Yeah,
sure. Here's an air fryer for 5 minutes. Here's some grilled chicken. Go at it, man. All right. And then for people visiting Charleston, which I think is a great town, right? If you had to go to a restaurant down there, what do you recommend down there for a restaurant for folks?
Man, there's this newer one called Malagon.
Really?
It's like small, like tapas type
Yep.
Spanish, and it's been around for a few years. It's actually a buddy that I know from. I actually went to culinary school before I went to college in Charleston,
Oh, hell
and yeah, that's a whole nother story. But he just got one of the first what do you call it Michelin stars in Charleston
yeah.
ever.
Really?
Yeah, Charleston had never had a Michelin star until literally 2 months ago. And this little restaurant that seats maybe 40 people finally got one.
Man, there you go. I'll have to come back. I mean, I had promised my wife a trip down to like Charleston, Savannah, kind of take that trip,
Low country,
being in
yeah.
Raleigh, man. So I need to do that. I'm going to write that one down here, after this. So, well, look, Adam, you did not disappoint. I knew this would be something that I would look. I have gained anytime I edit, I watch it back. I pick out, three pieces to kind of write down, three clips to do. You probably gave us 5 or 6 clips out of this, man. So thank you. I appreciate you, man. And, look forward to kind of really connecting with you more. Okay.
Absolutely, Dave. Thanks for having me, man. It's been
No, it's
great.
awesome. Everybody else, hey, one more down, a lot more in the queue. Be safe. See you guys later.